If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, like, and share so we can continue to provide you with the best in travel tips, news, and information. Welcome to our top sites to see in Bali. Now I understand that everyone's list of sites will vary slightly depending on how they like to travel, but for this episode, we're going to take a look at our list. We're going to take you to each site, provide you with the information you need to know, some insider tips, and whether we think the site is worth visiting or not. Most of the sites we'll be looking at today will be around the town of Ubud and its surrounding area. Now, if you're not staying in Ubud, it can be a little difficult to get there with the traffic. It's about 37 kilometers from the airport, so it can take you anywhere from 45 minutes up to 2 hours, depending on the traffic and the time of day. Another important question people have asked is how many days do I need to spend around the Ubud area for sightseeing? And I would say 2 to 3 is the sweet spot. You could always spend more. There's a lot of sites to see. And if you take into consideration the traffic and the distance between sites, I really don't think 1 day would be enough. And for our YTM quick tip, if you're traveling throughout Bali, I would place Ubud either in the beginning or the middle of your journey, as it's not that close to the airport, and I prefer to be close to the airport the day that I'm leaving. Now let's take a closer look at each one of the sites. The first site we're going to look at is the Ceking swing. Now this is where most of you will be getting all your social media shots, and this is not the one they refer to as the real Bali swing. This is a different one. The main reasons we came to this site is we wanted to go to a swing, walk on a rice terrace, and take a bunch of photos. So this site basically checked all our boxes. And as opposed to the real Bali swing, this place wasn't that crowded and we really didn't have to wait that long for any of the activities or photo ops. And the people here were extremely nice and helpful. Now let's take a look at some of the prices. It was 50,000 to enter, and you can see some of the activity prices here. And I believe it was an extra 150,000 to select one of those long, flowing, famous swing dresses, which you'll see shortly. And these are some of the incredible views you'll see at this site. And you can see in the distance where they have the sky bike and the zip line, which we had no interest, so we didn't participate in those activities. And the main reason we came, here is the double swing for couples and the single swing for solo flyers. But now it was time for Lily to get in the swing and fly. And the guys who worked the swing here were awesome. They tried to swing you out as far as possible, and you really can get some good distance on these swings. The guys would yell and cheer you on, and even give you tips on what to do to get the best photos, which definitely added to the whole experience. And as you know, many people come here to get those incredible photos for their social media. But in addition to that, the swing is actually a fun activity, and you get some great views from up there. So of course, I was convinced to give it a try, and no, I did not opt for the dress. And if you wanted to take a couple's photo, you can opt for the two-seater swing. We didn't, but this couple did, and it looks kinda cute. And there's so many more photo opportunities here than just the swing. And we really didn't have to wait that long for most of these photo ops. Many of the people were very courteous. They took their photos and moved on. I think we spent about an hour and a half at this site between the swing and all the photo ops. And of course, we wanted to walk the rice terrace, which gave us another opportunity for some more photos. And we were fortunate enough to see these two little guys running around on the rice terrace, enjoying the beautiful day. And here's some YTM quick tips for Ceking. Now, if one of the staff members asks to take your phone so they can take photos and videos of you, as long as you feel comfortable, let them do it. They do this all the time. They take some great photos, and they didn't ask for any money and wouldn't accept any tips. Next up on our list is Tirta Empul Temple, a Balinese water temple, and I believe a must-do experience when you travel to Bali. It's going to be crowded, and there's going to be lines, but it's well worth it. When you arrive at the temple, they'll have lockers for a small fee where you can keep your stuff. And as you enter, you'll see that the pool is split into 3 sections for the Melokot water purification ritual. You will get online towards the left. And as you enter the pool, you'll start at the first fountain on the left, going to each fountain as you move across, skipping these 2 fountains, but going to the last one here. Now you'll make your way to the second pool, or the middle pool, through these stairs, past the elephant. Just be careful, these stairs here were a little slippery. You'll now perform the ritual in this pool that only has a couple of fountains. Then you'll have to wait online again to enter the pool on the right. And here, we only performed the ritual on the leftmost fountain. Now let's take a look as Lily goes through this ritual. Yeah, the water's a little cold when you get in, but you get used to it quickly. Now, I could be wrong, but from what we were told, as you go to each fountain, you perform the same ritual. Each movement is done 3 times, putting your hands to your forehead, splashing water on your face and head, and then submerging your head under the fountain. Some people also mentioned about drinking the water, but we skipped that part. Even though you might have to wait on long lines, I highly recommend going to Tirta Empul Temple and participating in the water purification ritual. It's definitely an experience. And isn't that what traveling's all about? And here's a few YTM quick tips. If you want to get photos in the pool and you didn't hire a photographer, and you're traveling as a couple or a group, one of you enters the pool first so the others can take photos and vice versa. This'll definitely take more time, but for some great photos, it might be worth it. Moving on to our next site, Gajah, or affectionately referred to as the Elephant Cave. This site dates back to about the 9th century, but the exact origins of this cave are still a little uncertain. As you enter the complex here, first you'll have to go to the ticket booth, and here you'll see the prices across the board for both domestic and foreign travelers. And yes, it's cash only here, so be prepared. After leaving the ticket booth, you'll walk to your right. As you enter the site, these gentlemen will check your ticket and provide you with a sarong, unless of course you brought your own. You'll take a nice walk down to the site via these stairs, and if you look to your left, you'll get a great panoramic view of the site. Now, the primary reason most people come here, including us, is to see the infamous Elephant Cave. And I'm assuming the menacing carvings on the cave were there to ward off evil spirits. But that didn't really deter us from taking a few photos. But now I think it's time that we actually venture inside the cave. Now, entering the cave, you'll notice it's quite small, and obviously used for some religious ceremonies. And I think we spent under 10 minutes in the cave itself, but now it's time to head out and explore the rest of the site. Now, I know the Elephant Cave is the main reason people come here, but there's more to see than just the cave. And walking around, I really thought the structures, the intricate carvings, and the statues were really interesting and pretty cool. Now, this is one of the sites that a guide would really help. Considering there's not much signage or information around this site, you might miss out on some of the history, symbolism, or meaning of some of the structures. We also ventured through the temple and the gardens. Walking around the gardens sort of had a tranquil, relaxing feel. What's nice is you can probably cover this entire site in an hour or less. And as a bonus, when we went, it really wasn't crowded at all. Less than maybe 10 people, so we were able to walk around and really see and experience everything at our own pace. And as you leave, of course, there are more shopping kiosks for some bargain shoppers. People have mixed opinions about the Elephant Cave. Some feel it's not worth the cost, especially if they're short on time or it's out of their way. Others find it fascinating. We really enjoyed our visit, but the decision is ultimately yours. Next up on our list is Pura, Gunung, Kawi, Sebatu, Holy Springs Temple. Now, this was a really convenient stop for us, as it's close to the Tirta Empul temple, the one we showed you earlier, where we participated in the water purification ceremony. We actually stopped by here on our return trip, and we thought the 30,000 entry price was very reasonable. As with most of the temples, you'll have to cover your legs, so either bring a sarong or they will provide one for you. We brought our own. I can see how this temple is known for its stunning natural beauty and its spiritual significance. Walking through these incredible relics and structures around the lush gardens and pools provides you with a little calmness during a long day of sightseeing. Personally, I found this temple a hidden gem. We enjoyed the architecture, the purification pools, that incredible koi pond, and all its natural beauty. Now, is this temple worth going to? If you're going to Tirta Empul for the water ceremony, then absolutely. It's close by and it's not that expensive, if you have the time. Now, if you're not passing this temple through your itinerary of sites and you're on a time crunch, you might decide to skip it. Next up on our sightseeing tour is Taman Sari Waterfall. This isn't the highest waterfall, the most popular, or the one with the most scenic beauty, but we had our reasons, and we'll also mention some other popular waterfalls at the end of this section. The main reasons we selected this waterfall is that it's close to Ubud and on our way to other sites. It's not a long hike at all to the waterfall from where you park. It's usually not that crowded, and it was a hot day in Bali, so I think we really needed a refreshing swim to cool off. So it's about a 5-minute walk from the parking lot and where you buy your ticket to these stairs, and probably another 5 to 10 minute walk down to the waterfall, depending how fast you walk. And you have these two giving you a nice warm welcome to the waterfall. And as you turn the corner on the stairs, you'll see the waterfall in front of you and little directions to the temple and the waterfall. Seems like everywhere in Bali has a temple. They also provide you with lockers and a restroom right next to the falls. Very convenient. And I think we spent about an hour and a half here total between the hike and the waterfall. And in the time we were there, it went from being really empty to only a few people. It was never crowded, which really worked for us. So you could hike up to the big waterfall. It wasn't a big hike, but be careful as it is slippery up there. And after you spend some time on top admiring the waterfall, make your way down to the natural spring pool and enjoy a refreshing swim. It's also great that they provide you with this depth chart so you know how deep the water is. And it really wasn't that deep. And we really did enjoy our swim under this cascading waterfall. And being that it was so empty, it was a little difficult finding someone to take a photo of us, but we did. Now it was time to leave. In the parking lot where we were meeting our driver, we saw this woman in a small kiosk store selling coconuts. They were quite refreshing. I highly recommend them. Okay, is Taman Sari the right waterfall for you? That depends on a few factors. For us, we were looking for something close by, a short hike, not too crowded, and a refreshing swim. So this checked all our boxes. Now, if you have the time and you don't mind a hike, some of these waterfalls are incredible. So check out the ones on our list, and if there's one that you particularly like, please mention it in our comments and see which one appeals to you. And depending which waterfall you go to, hiking shoes and water shoes might be a good idea. Now moving on to the famous Ubud's Monkey Forest. This was one of my favorite sites, and I believe Lily's favorite. It's really great because basically the monkeys roam free in their own habitat, and you're just visiting. As you enter, you walk to the ticket counter. We came during the week, so it was only 80,000 IDR for adults. But if you come on the weekends, I believe it's 100,000, so try to come during the week. And of course, they also have monkey Wi-Fi. You can also skip the line by buying your tickets via the Bali app. I'll add the link. And in case you're a little hungry, they have monkey gelato, a food stand, and they have bathrooms as well. And now I think it's time we entered the monkey forest. And as we walked in, there was this little guy on the entrance sign welcoming us to his home. And then you walk down these stairs and through a very short tunnel to arrive in the monkey forest. And please pay close attention to the guidelines here for the monkey's safety as well as your own. This sanctuary is very well organized. They have maps almost everywhere, letting you know where you are and guiding you to what you want to see. They also have these street signs pointing you in the right direction, as well as the demographic breakdown of the monkeys in the park, which I thought was pretty cool. Now let's join some of the monkeys during their lunch break. The great thing is you see monkeys everywhere, including this next group having a nice little family outing together. And this guy here, who followed Lily for a little while, don't worry, I think it was just a harmless crush. We really did enjoy this sanctuary. I believe we spent over 2 hours here. We saw this little guy trying to get a selfie. Unfortunately, it was closed. We didn't have the heart to tell him. Here is one of the 3 Hindu temples inside the sacred monkey forest. This one was closed, but that's okay. We were able to walk around and see some quite interesting statues. Now, in addition to the temples, statues, and monkeys, they had a shopping kiosk in the middle of the monkey forest, just in case you had the sudden urge to shop. They also had bathrooms inside the forest as well. And now, back to the monkeys, because that's why we're here, isn't it? It was great seeing the monkeys, not in a cage, just enjoying life. Now, these two had a heated discussion about whose turn it was to scratch whose back. Fortunately, they figured it out. They feed the monkeys generously here, so please don't bring in your own food. This guy got a hold of someone's bottle, which can't be good. The monkeys here are pretty well behaved, but they might try to get into your bag to see if there's any food inside, or grab something out of your hand. This is why you should probably not bring much inside the monkey forest. We really enjoyed it here. This guy really wanted to get in the photo. And there was another little guy here who showed some affection towards Lily, but he was a little shy. But eventually, they made a connection. And he really didn't want her to leave. But it was time to say goodbye. Now, the monkey forest is a wonderful experience. Just follow the rules. And remember, you're in their home. Don't bring in food, or try to feed them, or disturb them. If they approach you, that's different. We saw some people trying to approach the monkeys a little aggressively. They did not like that. So if you respect them, they'll respect you. Next up is Pura Gunung Lebah Temple, which is located not too far from the Ubud town center. The name of the temple means small hill temple and dates back to about the 8th century. The temple has statues of Hindu deities and mythological figures. The temple is dedicated to the deities of nature, and many rituals and ceremonies are held here. The temple complex features traditional Balinese architecture with intricate stone carvings, multi-tiered shrines, and beautifully decorated gates. But it was kind of odd when we arrived here. We weren't sure if it was opened or closed. We saw a gentleman either cleaning up or setting up for a ceremony. He said it was closed, but we were still able to walk around a little. And this temple is located at the beginning of the Champuan Ridge Walk, which makes this temple a popular starting point for the trail. And I just had to take a photo of this spider I saw there. It was huge. I would not want to wake up next to this guy. So, is Pura Gunung Lebah Temple worth visiting? It only requires a small donation. It's close to Ubud, and if you're doing the Champuan Ridge Walk, you might want to stop by and check it out. Next, welcome to Pura Taman Kemuda Saraswati Temple. The Saraswati Temple is a beautiful Hindu temple, pretty much located in the town center of Ubud, so it's pretty easy to get to if you're walking around town or at the market. This temple is dedicated to the goddess Saraswati, the deity of knowledge, music, art, wisdom, and learning. Which is pretty cool. This temple is renowned for its stunning architecture and tranquil settings. As you enter, you pay your 50,000 IDR, and they provide you with these traditional purple robes and headbands. As you walk through this temple, you'll see many intricate carvings. But I have to say, the focal point of this temple is definitely the picturesque lotus pond. Now, I wouldn't say this is a particularly large temple, but it is a beautiful temple, giving off this sort of peaceful, serene vibe, even though being in the middle of the town center. And on the way to the temple, we stopped off at a cafe for a cool drink, and fortunately for us, it's basically sharing the same pond as the temple. It's the Cafe Lotus. We sat up here and could see almost the entire temple, and most of these photos we took are from that cafe. So is this temple worth visiting? Some people say it's a steep price and it's not a big temple, so they'd skip it. Others say it's a beautiful temple and it's right in the center of town, so it's definitely worth the visit. You make the choice. They also have traditional Balinese dance almost every night. Now, these performances are quite popular. You might want to buy your tickets ahead of time. I'll add a link in the comments. Now we'll be going to Ubud Palace, Pura, Saren, Agung. Now, the palace is pretty easy to get to since it's pretty much located in the center of town and only a few minutes walk from our last site, the Saraswati water temple. The palace stands out as one of the newer sites we've encountered, having been constructed in the early 19th century. Now, the palace can get quite crowded, mainly because it's in the center of town, and yes, it's also free to enter. Now the question is, should you visit the palace? In my opinion, since it's free, and you'll probably be in town at some point, dining or shopping, you could always stop in. If you don't like it or it's too crowded, you can just leave. Remember, it's free. And personally, I really did enjoy the architecture here. It was very ornate and interesting. And particularly, I was really impressed with the doors. I'm going to see if I can get a set of these for my place, maybe in the gift shop. Just like the Saraswati temple, the palace also has Balinese dance performances. As we mentioned earlier, these performances are very popular, so try and purchase your tickets ahead of time. Get there early so you can get a good seat, and it's a good idea to read up on the dance performance before you go so you can follow the story. Since you'll be seeing some sights around Ubud, you'll probably end up in the town at one point or another to see one of these sites, to go shopping or dining. Just be aware the traffic around Ubud is terrible. So you'll be doing a lot of walking and more walking, which is a good way to see the town, and plus it's healthy for you. There's a lot of great shopping in Ubud, but most of the booths here have the same or similar items, but if you really look, you might discover something truly unique. And generally, the prices in Ubud are cheaper than many other towns in Bali, so it's a great place to do bargain shopping. We did. And don't forget to check out the famous Ubud Art Market. If you want to see more tips about Bali, check out our video, Top Tips for Bali. I'll list it in the comments. Now, this episode really isn't about food, but we went to this one restaurant 2 times, once for dinner and once for lunch. LIapLiap, a modern Indonesian restaurant. The service at dinner was excellent. At lunch, it's just okay. But both times, the food was incredible. They even gave us a complimentary appetizer. It's located in the center of town, so it's easy to get to, and it's reasonably priced. The food was very fresh and quite tasty. And if you can, try to go during happy hour, where you can take advantage of the drink specials. We did. They even have a bucket of beers special. You can't beat that. Ubud is a vibrant city filled with culture and artistry. Spend some time on your journey, eating, drinking, shopping, experiencing the town. Just be aware of that Ubud traffic. For our final thoughts today, we're going to talk about where to stay. If you're going to see many of these sites, you're probably going to want to stay around Ubud, at least for a few days. And you have a choice. You could stay in a villa or resort in town or one outside of town. There's advantages to each, and you'll hit traffic either way. Staying at a resort in town, you won't need transportation around town, and usually when you stay out of town, you'll get some of the most beautiful picturesque scenic views in Ubud. We stayed at the Royal Pita Maha, which is about 5 kilometers outside of town, and this resort was exquisite. And speaking of sights, there are plenty of sights to see at this resort as it lies on the banks of the Agung River. It has a waterfall that you could hike pretty close to, and the villas here were spectacular. And we have a video review coming out for this resort, so stay tuned for that. One of the highlights of our villa was our private pool with this incredible breathtaking view, which we enjoyed both day and night. And the complimentary breakfast was something we look forward to each day. And every morning they had such a wide variety of delicious food to choose from. And imagine having breakfast every morning with this stunning picturesque view. And they even served us breakfast one morning in our private pool. Now that's sweet. With its culture, beauty, and rich history, Bali is one of the most popular destinations in the world. So I hope this helped you the next time you travel to Bali. Safe travels. Please subscribe, like, and share to keep up with all our latest travel news, tips, and reviews, and we do appreciate it as it does help support the channel.